Morning, everybody. Welcome to a very nice day up on Angela's Crest Forest. This is a continuation of the one takes with me driving the fan cars as Matt continues to drive press cars. And second person to email me, I think, second person to show up is Sam. Very, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for bringing your BMW 340 up here.
Of course.
I don't know. Tell us about it. Tell us why you got it and then what you did to it.
Well, I had a BMW X3 with a 3.0 SI engine that I completely modded, like suspension-wise and sort of power-wise, from 2007. I sold that, and I love BMWs, so I kind of wanted to continue with that line of cars. So I was looking into like an M3 or like a 340, and this was way cheaper than an M3, obviously. So I went with this, and then just decided to do slight bolt-ons. It has an intake, tune, catless downpipe, mid-pipe, rear section exhaust, and that's about it. And no suspension mods, so it looks like a bit of a sleeper.
Yeah.
And no exterior, mods either.
So stock handling, stock everything,
Yeah.
but all the breathing stuff has
Yeah.
been done.
Yeah.
And so what power are you making now?
It's around 400 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque.
At the wheels,
Yes,
correct?
at the wheels.
That's significant.
Yes.
So, for anyone who's sitting there going, well, the GT500 makes
Yeah.
like this, that's a lot of power, especially for, this is your daily, I assume. So, daily driven 400 wheel.
Yeah.
I know that there's so many videos with Hennessy this and Koenigsegg that, but 400 wheel horsepower, people, is very quick.
In a sedan, yeah. Yeah.
I love sedans.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a huge fan of sedans, especially BMW ones. All right, so we're gonna take it for a drive. We're gonna start out, you were talking about sport, comfort, all that stuff. So we're gonna start out in comfort because this road's bumpy. Actually, so it's just the throttle mapping, but I just want to feel the difference and talk to the people about how the different modes can change how things feel. So let's do the thing. A lot quieter compared to the car I just drove.
Definitely a weird feeling being in the passenger seat.
Yeah, you're never over there, right?
Completely, yeah.
Okay, so, the first impression, I just got out of a 94 Civic track car, which is all, a can of bees and super low and super tight everything. So this is already a very different experience. So I'm feeling up the throttle mapping right now, and
it kind of shifts a little early. It always shifts to the last gear, definitely.
It does. Wow, your brake feel is very nice though.
Mm-hmm. And these are slightly shot, so.
Okay, so you got shot brakes.
Yep.
When you showed up, you were checking your front tires.
Yep.
And then, it's okay because they're not as low on tread as my rears.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I noticed it does lean. It's more than I expected, but only because the car looks really aggressive just by design.
Mm-hmm.
It has it's got the M Sport package, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many brand new cars feel so sharp and almost too firm. Like the M4 is way too firm.
Yeah.
And so I think that was kind of stuck in my mind. So this is definitely more of that GT feel.
Yeah, it has a softer suspension, definitely.
It definitely does.
On the freeway, it's kind of choppy. So it does bounce around a little bit. But out here on the corners, there's a bit of lean, which I would love to do suspension, but again, it's a lease. So it's like...
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like a lot of money to put a suspension on it when I'm just going to return it.
Yes.
So...
And as opposed to all the go fast parts.
Yeah, exactly,
Same thing. All right, well, let's switch it to sport because I want to...
One more.
So we're going to go Sport Plus.
And then press traction once. There you go. And
all right, so now we have...
Manual.
We're going to go manual mode. We're going to use the paddles. This is a traveling forward in time compared to the 94 Civic that had the optional air conditioning. Your car sounds great. I hope it comes through in the drive-bys for people because it sounds good at idle. It's got a great overrun sound to it. It's got a deeper sound than I've heard from a lot of BMWs. And frankly, when we had the new M3 out at Gingerman for Grid Life, it was almost strangely quiet. It was mostly intake sound, and I wish it had more of this. And yet, so quiet inside the car. I mean,
it's so refined. It's pretty amazing. But especially with a catless downpipe as well,
Yeah.
And no mid pipes or no resonators.
Because it's definitely not quiet and refined outside. And we were speaking about this on the podcast recently. For people who don't know, we have a podcast called The Smoking Tire Podcast, and cars have gotten so quiet inside, and they're so good at that NVH, the noise, vibration, harshness, producing it.
Yeah.
So Matt has done a couple of cars recently. He did an E63 S wagon and a BMW 550xi. And I noticed that in the drive-by shots, when I was editing it, that most of the noise was tire noise. Like, it was not, the exhaust wasn't that loud.
Yeah.
And he did not hear it in the car because that's why they're piping in.
Yeah, they're piping in the fake noise and stuff. Yeah,
and that really, I mean, look, it's so quiet in here compared to how loud the car is outside. And it really speaks to how much they've tamed everything.
I mean, and then if you roll the windows down, it just sounds amazing,
Yeah, it does. It really sounds phenomenal.
And you have that overrun that is really nice.
The power delivery is nice. It is progressive without you're not getting punched in the face with 400 horsepower. Because if they designed the power band like that, whoever tuned it for you, I think they did a good job, because that could be a little bit unnerving.
It's off the shelf. It's a Burger Motorsports tune, so it's just a piggyback. So it's just a boost controller, but it pulls definitely.
It does. It feels like the stock power band. It feels like I would say like any other BMW.
Yeah.
Even back in the day, in the 90s, when it was just an inline six with no turbo, I think the power band feels really similar to that. Obviously, you're making way more torque down low than those cars, but before people start yelling at me, it's just a very smooth ramp as in power.
It's not a kick in the face.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's really not. So stock power on these cars was 320 horsepower and like 340 torque, but the torque was down at 1400 RPM.
Yeah,
that was max.
Yep.
And you are 400 wheel, 400 torque.
Yeah.
Huge jump.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why people are calling this, kind of like a new super engine, because it's an inline six turbo. And I think people are starting to swap these into other cars.
Well, I think the new M3 is going to be based off this engine, so it's going to be an S58.
Right, because it's the B58.
Yeah, this
correct?
is the B58.
And this replaced the N55.
Yeah.
So the new M3 engine is going to have the same architecture, roughly.
I believe so. And then I think this engine's going to be in the new Supra as well.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing engine. There are people, Matt's driven these cars, stock bottom end, 800 horsepower. I'm going to turn around here, but we're going to go across and do this. I mean, that's bananas. Like, can we really just take a moment and appreciate the science of metallurgy right now?
I know the way cars are going is ridiculous. It's ridiculous how strong the engines are from factory. Definitely.
The steering is interesting on this. It firmed up a little bit when you switched to Sport Plus, but not as much as I was expecting.
Well, at speed it gets lighter a little bit.
Okay.
That's what I've noticed. But at lower speeds, it's really heavy, which is kind of counterintuitive. I don't know why.
Well, they do that because my car also has a progressive box. Most BMWs, what is happening here with this passing, have progressive boxes. And the reason they do that is because when people are on the highway just mostly cruising straight, like their market are commuters, they want the on-center to be straight, but they don't want it to be twitchy. So if the steering is slower at what is highway speeds, they're expecting most people are going straight for that. So they want to be able to just kind of rest their hand lightly on the wheel and not have the car move around too much. And then when they slow down, it's all based on speed. So for us, we might go to a canyon road that has really tight corners that we're handling at 30 miles an hour. but the steering system is designed for like around town at 30 miles an hour.
Okay.
So they're giving a different experience. And I was reading a review about the 340, doing homework on this, and the writer noted that one of the BMW engineers, when the writer asked, hey, how come the steering isn't heavier? How come it doesn't have more feel? He was like, look, the system can do that. It's not, he was trying to say it's not a hardware problem, but our market doesn't want really hard steering. They don't want a lot of effort.
Well, I mean, it's still for the mass market, and it's enthusiasts love the car, but there's people that are 58 years old and driving their kids to school every day that don't want that.
Right. If you want that, they're like, hey, we'll happily sell you an M3.
Yeah, exactly.
Or an M4. And that's how the game works. Right. This would be or is a crazy comfortable, fast, like Grand Touring car.
Yep.
Road trip car.
Yep. I mean, I have 20,000 miles and it's only been a year.
Wow.
Yep.
So where have you gone with this thing?
Well, I've gone all the way up to Northern California.
That far?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I just drive it a lot. I just literally just drive just to drive. And I just put miles on it. I can come here many times, the Angeles Crest Highway, and like Mulholland all the time. But yeah, it's just putting miles on the car. Just like driving. It just adds up.
Yep, it does. And especially because you live in Los Angeles.
Yep.
So driving a long distance is a rare thing. It's something you have to go seek. And I think the fact that you do that speaks to how nice the car is for that. Because there's like Matt was talking today in the parking lot. He's got his Mustang, but he only takes it out when he really wants to go driving because the first 10 miles are just city street harshness. This chassis it's nice. It's just a little too soft, obviously, for this kind of work. But you can still feel that's the DNA. You can still feel.
It does. It does have good handling, but it's set up more for a more comfortable ride.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
We'll go straight for a little bit longer. The steering is very strange. I mean, it's 2017 model, right? All right, so it's electronic steering, but with the progressive rack. It's been really interesting to watch how the different companies go about implementing electric steering and what they do with it. I mean, the really early versions, like 5 years ago, with the exception of Porsche, were pretty bad. Either really vague, like can't feel what the front tires are doing, or the speeds were very strange, or even like the new Camaros, when you switch them to sport mode, they get really heavy, but they don't necessarily communicate more feel. It feels artificial. Porsche is great at it. The new M3 was really good. This, I will say, is kind of numb to the front tires.
It is a little bit numb,
Like it almost has like a video game feel where the nose is changing in the direction your hands are dictating. So like your brain it makes sense, but you're not feeling the degree the tires are turning. Like I really, I can't feel the tarmac. I can't feel how much grip is at the front.
Which is, it's not, without that feel, it's harder to drive fast.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But yeah.
With no communication to the front tire, you run the risk of either going over the limit easily, or being nervous about exploring where the limit is because you don't have that communication. It's better to play, especially in a car like this. At least it's nice. If you're going to a track, you want to play it safe. You don't want to go figure out at what point the front tires let go, and then because you can't feel it through your hands, you have to feel it with your ears and kind of your ass, and that is not as quick a line of communication as when you're, when you get understeer in a car and you feel the tires let go, you can quickly correct it. You can straighten out. And you have all those little adjustments. With this, I think it would just be a little bit more of a delay. It would kind of be like dial-up versus
versus iPhone.
If Porsche is fiber optic cable with their electric steering, this would be a little bit more like DSL.
I understand.
All right, that is we'll go to the next one. That's a big little crease in the ground there. It's a very very nice car though.
The mid-range is really nice.
The engines are great. Yeah, the mid-range is nice. And these, anything with this new turbo inline 6, be it a 135 or the 340 or the 335, I mean, they're just such powerful platforms.
No,
you can get so much out of it.
Yeah, and BMW knows how to make an inline 6 ,
They better, right?
Yeah, exactly. at this point. But yeah.
It's like if Batali didn't know how to make spaghetti right now, or kind of fell off. Turning radius is very good. It's very interesting how, and obviously no offense to you, how little I'm hearing through the wheel, but like the balance of the chassis is good. The front and rear is very even. It doesn't lean too much. It's all real predictable and smooth. It's just like I got nothing up here.
Yeah. And I came from my X3 that
sounds so good, man. Sorry, continue.
I came from my X3 which had hydraulic steering.
Oh, okay, so this was a big change.
And this is a completely different change. And my X3 obviously was still an SUV, but it still had amazing feel, just because it was a hydraulic steering. But
it's pretty interesting how even it doesn't really matter what. Well, I mean, the class of car does matter, but the hardware, like the hydraulic, even if it's 8 turns lock to lock, and you're driving like a bus, you'll still be able to feel all that linkage and how it's working. And they are getting there with electric steering. Plenty of companies have done it fine, and it's all about sensors and how much input to give back to the driver, what kind of resistance you want, and then really making sure that I think it's really in sync with the front wheels, and that there's probably a lot of engineering that goes into the structure in the front and how the whole system is like bolted together. I think Road and Track did a good article showing the different types of electric steering. Thank you very much. There are, and there's like, is the box up on the steering shaft or is it down on the steering rack? And Porsche's electronic like motor is bolted to the rack, so it's the same kind of setup as a hydraulic one.
So, but it mimics it.
Right. It's the corkscrew gears and everything. And then by comparison, they had like the Versa or something, some cheap car where the box was on the steering rack, on the shaft itself. Up here in like the dashboard, and so that's just turning the shaft for you. And whatever that separation is with all the different gears and all the different like bushings that are involved, you get very different results. It is easy to drive this car fast.
That's what I'm saying. When you look down, you're like, wow, like I'm going pretty fast, and you don't feel it.
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. And the gearbox is it's the ZF 8-speed.
Such a good gearbox. Such a good gearbox. For an automatic.
For torque converter.
Nice little lift there. Torque converter, not a dual clutch, and yet really quick. I mean, this has definitely been my favorite of the automatics that have come out. And I mean, I know I'm not breaking any new ground there. Well, my favorite as a connoisseur, and I might piss off some people. The 8-speed ZF, I have to say, is very good. And hang me if you want to, send me to jail. But it's just really good. It does make you wonder why. I'm sure there's some business partnerships, but other companies that have tried to do it a little bit different. This is definitely the bar. Back steps out a little bit right there. Not drifting people, it's just over very uneven ground. I'm sure you can hear now in the audio how bumpy this road is. So what's your plan with this car as we wind down? Is this just like a daily that you wanted to add power to, or is it a track thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a fast daily. I mean, simply. But I think the next mods would maybe be exterior, but again, I don't care about exterior mods because it's just,
it's already a good-looking car.
Yeah, it doesn't need. I mean, some people will have the argument that it does, like, whatever. But, basically, it's complete. It's exactly what I wanted. Fast daily, good power, maybe suspension, but again, it's a lease, so.
Right.
And suspension is a little bit more expensive to put on and take off.
Yeah,
than these mods,
the power mods can go for like a couple grand, like a chip and stuff.
I mean, everything here is probably like here is probably like, I don't know.
You don't have to say the number, but we know that good coilovers start at, let's say, 3 for like, that's just like springs and shocks.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want to get like KW3s, which are really good, and you won't lose this nice ride quality for daily driving, you're thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's all about what are you doing with the car.
Yeah.
And
now I've really thought about it with the the power mods, whatever. I mean, really close to maybe 2,000 for everything, right?
Okay.
But that's like as far as I want to go because
well, because then the next leap is like a turbo.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to spend that that much more. Yeah, it's like I think it's perfect for what it is.
I think that's great because I think what I'm trying to learn and I think what I've really noticed with this series and with like editing the videos and watching the videos is people should make whatever they want because the internet or we all have an idea of what a good car is or what we would want. Doesn't matter. What do you want? What do you want to do with your car? Okay, it's quick in a straight line and it's comfortable. Awesome.
Yeah.
Someone might go, oh, you should put really expensive coilovers on a turning track or a drift car or standing miles, whatever. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. I'm returning the car in
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And then what fits your lifestyle? What are you into?
Exactly. Yeah.
Very quick, comfortable, great touring missile. Like, really fun. And the power delivery, it feels stock. It's just more.
Yeah.
It's just when you look down at the speedo, there's a bigger number than there would be before.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's really funny because you've added, almost a third of the power.
Yeah,
you added. So it's only like a third more on the speedometer. Well, Sam, thank you very much. For
thank
coming
you.
out. Thank you. For
I
bringing your
appreciate
car.
it.
I really appreciate it, and this thing is very cool. Maybe with the next one they'll do something with the steering, but for what you're using it for, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Check out the podcast on iTunes, Android, wherever you get it. And we're also going to start doing live podcasts where you can comment and ask us questions as well. And subscribe, tell people about it. And if you want to submit your car for a review with me, email TheSmokingTire@gmail.com and then put my name, Zach, not fuckface, it's Zach, in the subject line with your make and model, and we will get it scheduled. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you later.